Ever feel like there's this like wellspring of creativity inside you, just kind of waiting to be unleashed? Or maybe you're really craving that spark of passion, that, zest for life that seems to be missing. Well, today's deep dive is all about unlocking that potential through your sacral chakra.
I like it.
We're talking about igniting that inner fire.
Yes.
And really tapping into the energy center that governs, well, a lot of juicy stuff.
It is juicy stuff, and it's interesting. Most people, when they think of the sacral chakra, they just immediately go to sexuality.
Right.
Which, yeah, it's definitely a part of it.
It's part of it.
But it's so much more than that.
Okay, so tell me more.
So it's actually the energy center that governs our creativity, our life force energy, even our ability to connect deeply, authentically with ourselves and the world around us.
So less 50 Shades of Grey, more like 50 Shades of Awesome.
Yeah, 50 Shades of Awesome. I love that.
So where does Gabi Kovalenko and her channelings come in?
So Gabi's work is it's amazing because she provides this like incredibly insightful roadmap, I think, to understanding and then like actually activating this often overlooked energy center.
Right.
And one of the first things that she points out is that even though the sacral chakra is located in the lower abdomen, its influence, its energy impacts every single area of our lives.
Wow, so it's like this hidden powerhouse.
Yes.
And when it's firing on all cylinders, we feel energized, we feel inspired.
Yes.
And we're just ready to like embrace life to the fullest.
100%.
But what happens when things get out of balance?
Well, that's the big question, right? Because that's when things can kind of go a little bit haywire.
Right.
And Gabi talks about two main imbalances: an underactive sacral chakra, which can leave you feeling like drained, uninspired, maybe even experiencing low libido.
Right.
And then on the flip side, you have an overactive sacral chakra, which can manifest as this like constant seeking of external stimulation.
Oh, wow.
Which can lead to burnout, potentially addictive patterns.
Okay.
So it's about finding that sweet spot.
It's like finding that sweet spot between feeling totally switched off and like being completely fried.
Yes. 100%. That is such a good way to put it. It's about finding that balance, that flow, where your energy is just flowing freely.
Right.
It's supporting you. It's not depleting you. It's actually allowing you to live this vibrant and fulfilling life.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do our childhood experiences play into all of this?
Oh, this is where it gets really interesting. Because Gabi links a lot of these imbalances back to childhood experiences, particularly around shame and self-expression.
So you're saying that like how we were raised or what messages we internalized as kids can actually create blockages in our sacral energy flow.
100%. It's huge.
That's huge.
Like, for example, if you were constantly criticized for expressing your creativity or told to like tone down your natural enthusiasm, you might have like unconsciously created a dam in this energy center.
It's like we learned to stifle those parts of ourselves to fit in or to please others. And then as adults, we don't even realize we're doing it.
Yeah, it becomes unconscious.
Wow. So this kind of leads into another big thing that Gabi talks about, the connection between sexuality and creativity.
Yes.
And she actually argues that they're not separate entities.
No.
But they're rather expressions of the same life force energy.
100%. And this is where it gets really juicy.
Okay, this is what I'm talking about. Tell me more about this connection, because I think this is where a lot of people are going to be like, what?
So Gabi describes creative energy as essentially transmuted sexual energy. So it's like this raw, primal energy that can be channeled, obviously, in a physical or romantic sense, but it can also be channeled into our passions, our work, our self-expression, all areas of our lives.
It's so true. I've definitely had moments where I feel creatively stuck.
Yeah.
And then I'll do something to move my body or to connect with my senses.
Yeah.
And suddenly the ideas just start flowing again. It's like that creative energy was always there.
It's always there.
We're just waiting to be sort of tapped into in a different way.
Exactly, 100%. And that's, I think, what's so powerful about understanding the sacral chakra. It's not about forcing anything.
Right.
It's about creating the conditions for that energy to flow naturally.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so what does a balanced sacral chakra actually look and feel like? Paint me a picture.
Okay. Imagine this. You are radiating vitality. You are overflowing with creative ideas. You feel deeply connected to yourself, to others. You are approaching life with this sense of joy, this sense of enthusiasm. You're basically unstoppable.
Sign me up. That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
But how do we get there? Like, is it just about constantly creating and expressing ourselves?
That's a great question. And this is where Gabi emphasizes the importance of sustainability.
Okay.
It's not about burning the candle at both ends, right?
Yeah.
Or like seeking fulfillment solely through external means.
Mhm.
It's about finding that sweet spot between expressing yourself fully,
Correct.
but also respecting your own energy, cultivating a sustainable flow.
So it's about listening to our bodies, honoring our own rhythms, our own needs.
Yes.
Not pushing ourselves to the point of burnout,
Yeah.
but also not being afraid to step into our power, to shine our light.
100%. And this is where, Gabi's insights about the sacral chakra's connection to something bigger, something divine, come into play.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more about this cosmic connection. Okay, so before the break, we were getting into some really interesting stuff about the sacral chakra's connection to something kind of bigger, something divine.
Yeah, exactly.
The cosmic.
Cosmic, right.
So-
So Gabi describes the sacral chakra as this microcosm of the sun's energy,
Okay.
right? And when we think about the sun, like, what are some words that come to mind? Warmth,
Yeah, warmth, light.
light, life force energy.
It's like this incredible source of energy
Yes.
that sustains everything on Earth.
Exactly. And so what she's suggesting is that we all possess that same like life-giving energy within us,
Wow.
specifically in our sacral chakras.
Okay.
And that when we can tap into that energy consciously, we can experience a level of aliveness and connection that's like truly transformative.
That makes me think of what Gabi says about sacred sex.
Yes.
And feeling aroused by life itself.
Yes.
It's like taking that passion, that vitality that we usually associate with intimacy, and kind of like expanding it outward
Yeah.
to encompass all areas of our lives.
Exactly. It's about cultivating this state of being where we're like turned on by the sheer act of being alive.
Cool.
Like feeling that spark of joy and wonder in everything we do,
Yeah.
from the simplest pleasures to like the grandest adventures.
Yeah, it's like when you're really present in your body and your senses.
Yes.
Like even just taking a walk in nature and feeling the sun on your skin.
Yes.
Or listening to a piece of music that just like moves you to your core.
Yes.
It's about being fully present and engaged in that moment rather than being stuck in our heads or like lost in distractions.
Exactly. 100%. It's about bringing that same level of presence and awareness to everything we do.
Okay, so how do we actually do that? Because I think a lot of us go through life
Yes.
kind of somewhat disconnected from our bodies.
Yes.
Especially our sensual and emotional experiences.
100%. It's so easy to do that, right?
Right.
It's so easy to get like caught up in our heads, disconnect from what our bodies are trying to tell us, what our emotions are trying to tell us.
Yeah.
But the good news is that there are so many ways to kind of bridge that gap,
Okay.
And Gabi talks about practices like mindful breathing, really like savoring sensory experiences, taste, touch, sound, all of it. It's about waking up our senses and allowing ourselves to experience the world through this lens of curiosity and delight.
Okay. And I imagine movement plays a big role in this too, right?
Movement is huge, 100%.
Okay.
Whether it's dancing, yoga, or, again, like you were saying, even just taking a walk in nature.
Right.
Moving our bodies helps to just get that energy flowing again.
Yeah.
It shakes things up, literally, and allows us to release any stagnant energy that might be kind of blocking our sacral chakras.
It's like we're literally shaking off the old and
Yeah.
making space for the new.
I love that. Yeah. And it's not just about moving our bodies, but it's also about allowing ourselves to like feel our emotions fully.
That's interesting because we're often taught to like suppress our emotions.
Yeah.
Especially like the messy ones, like
Yeah.
anger or sadness.
Yeah, totally. Which actually is just creating more stagnation, right?
Right.
So it's like, how can we learn to kind of be with those emotions, not be afraid of them, and actually like find healthy ways to express them?
Right, because they're not going anywhere.
Exactly. They're not going anywhere, and they're trying to tell us something.
Okay.
So it's about like embracing that full spectrum of who we are, shadows and all.
So it's not about being perfect or pretending we don't experience these difficult emotions.
Yeah.
It's about meeting ourselves where we're at with compassion
Yes.
and finding healthy outlets for whatever's coming up.
Exactly. 100%. And that's where practices like journaling or dancing, creating art, or even talking to a therapist can be so powerful, right?
Right.
Because it allows us to move that energy through our bodies and express it in a way that feels safe and healthy.
It's like we're giving ourselves permission to be fully human
Yes.
with all of our complexities and contradictions.
Yes. 100%. And as we do that, we create more space for the joy, the creativity, the connection to flow in.
Right. So it's about finding that balance between expressing ourselves fully
Yeah.
and respecting our own energy,
Yes.
between celebrating the light and embracing the shadow.
100%. And recognizing that we're constantly evolving beings.
Right.
Right. And that this journey of self-discovery is ongoing.
Yes. There's no destination.
There's no destination. Exactly.
Yeah.
There will be times when we feel more connected to our sacral energy than others, and that's okay.
Of course.
The key is to just be gentle with ourselves and keep exploring, keep asking ourselves, what feels good in my body right now? What brings me joy? How can I express myself more authentically?
I love those questions because they're so simple, but so powerful.
Yes.
And I think they can be incredibly revealing.
They can be incredibly revealing. Like when we take the time to actually listen, to listen to our bodies, listen to our intuition, it will tell us what we need.
Yes, it'll guide us.
It will guide us.
Okay, so for someone who's listening right now and they're maybe feeling a bit stuck, they're feeling uninspired.
Yeah.
What would you say is the most important first step they can take to start activating their sacral chakra?
Ooh, that's such a good question. And it might sound like maybe overly simplistic, but I would say start with pleasure.
Okay.
Like what brings you joy? What makes you feel alive? What makes you feel connected to your body?
Right.
And it could be anything, right? Like it could be taking a long hot bath.
Right.
It could be dancing to your favorite music. It could be spending time in nature.
Yeah.
But the key is to choose activities that feel nourishing and expansive to you.
Right.
Right. And to approach them with the sense of playfulness and curiosity.
Yes.
Don't be afraid to experiment and just see what lights you up.
It's like we're rediscovering our inner child.
Yes.
And remembering how to experience the world through this lens of wonder and delight.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
Because that's essentially what it's all about.
I love it. This has been so insightful, but I think it's time for us to take another quick break.
Okay.
And when we come back, we're going to wrap up with some final thoughts and perhaps a little homework assignment to help you continue exploring your own sacral energy.
Love it.
Don't go anywhere. And we're back for the final part of our sacral chakra deep dive.
I'm so ready.
It's amazing what this one energy center, often so shrouded in misunderstanding, can unlock.
Yeah.
It holds the key to so much potential within us.
It really does. And, I think what's been really striking for me throughout this whole conversation is how Gabi's channelings, they go beyond just the typical esoteric language.
Right.
She actually gives us really tangible ways that we can apply these concepts to our everyday lives.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up,
Okay.
what are some key takeaways our listeners can walk away with today?
Ooh.
What's the essence of igniting that sacral spark?
Okay. Well, I think the most important takeaway here is understanding that this isn't some mysterious esoteric concept.
Right.
This is the very core of our creative force, our life force energy. It's about connecting deeply, with ourselves, with others, with the sheer joy of being alive.
Yeah, it's like we've been talking about this hidden wellspring of energy that so many of us have just unknowingly kept capped.
Yes, 100%. And when we finally tap into it consciously, intentionally, it can be a complete game changer for how we experience life.
Wow. It's powerful stuff.
Powerful stuff. So for those listening who are maybe, feeling that lack of creativity, that lack of passion, even that sense of purpose, where would you say?
Ooh, it's interesting you say that. Because I was thinking throughout this whole conversation how so many people struggle with those exact feelings.
Right. And it's so common. And it often stems from just being disconnected from this energy.
Right, right.
So I would encourage those listeners to start simply by bringing awareness to that area.
Okay. How do we do that?
It's as simple as just taking a few moments each day to connect with your lower abdomen.
Okay.
Maybe placing a hand there, taking some deep breaths, and just acknowledging that powerful energy center within you.
It's like we're sending love and attention to a part of ourselves that's maybe been neglected for far too long.
Yes. Beautifully said, yes.
And then from that place of awareness, we can start to explore those practices we've been talking about.
Exactly. Yes.
Like movement, creative expression, connecting with nature, really tuning into our senses.
Yes. And remembering it's not about forcing ourselves to feel something we don't.
Right.
It's about approaching it with that childlike sense of curiosity and playfulness.
Right.
And most importantly, self-compassion.
Yes. That's so important.
One thing I really love from Gabi's work that we haven't really touched on explicitly is the sacral chakra's connection to our intuition.
Oh, that's a good one.
Right. It's like
No.
we all have this like hidden superpower.
Do you?
And she suggests that we can practice tuning into our gut feelings more
Okay.
because often our bodies will sense what we need even before our minds catch up.
It's true. It's like we get this feeling,
Yes.
but we don't always listen to it.
Yes. And learning to trust those whispers, those subtle nudges that we get rather than
Right.
just brushing them aside.
Okay, so how do we do that?
The next time you're faced with a decision, big or small, just pause for a moment
Okay.
and just notice like any sensations or feelings that arise in your sacral area.
Okay.
Does it feel expansive and exciting,
Okay.
or does it feel contractive, a little bit off?
It's like checking in with our inner compass to see which way it's pointing.
Yes. I love that analogy. And remember, like, intuition is like a muscle.
Okay.
The more we use it, the stronger it becomes.
I like that.
Yeah.
This has been such an enriching conversation.
It has.
I feel like I've learned so much. But as we begin to wrap up, is there any final, provocative thought
Ooh.
you'd like to leave our listeners with? Something to kind of spark further reflection?
Yeah. One of the things that I found really powerful from Gabi's channelings is this idea that, that feeling of being stuck or uninspired or lacking purpose.
Yeah.
What if that was actually a sign that your sacral energy is just yearning to be unleashed in new ways?
I love that.
Yeah.
It's like that creative spark, that life force energy. It's always there.
Always there.
It's just waiting for us to kind of clear a path and let it ignite.
Exactly. So my challenge to everyone listening is this. Find one small way to tack into your sacral energy today.
Okay, I like it.
Maybe you blast your favorite song and just dance like nobody's watching.
Yes.
Maybe you finally pick up that paintbrush.
Yeah.
Or write those words that have been swirling around in your head.
Ooh, I like that.
Whatever it is, approach it with that sense of playfulness, that sense of curiosity, and just see where that energy leads you.
It's about remembering what it feels like to experience the world through that lens of wonder and joy and really boundless possibility.
100%. Yes.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the sacral chakra.
Thank you for having me. This was so fun.
It was so fun.
Yeah.
And remember, the journey of self-discovery is ongoing.
Always.
So keep exploring, keep playing, keep those creative fires burning until next time.